What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And you guys saw the title of this video. I think I blew up my GTR. I'm not 100% certain yet. Still need to jack this thing up. I'm gonna drain the oil, check the filter. We're gonna keep our fingers crossed and we're gonna pray that there's no bearing material, but I think my motor might be toast, which oh, it'll suck so bad, but I guess it's just kind of how these things go. So you guys know in the last video I was trying to figure out what was wrong with the GTR. I took it to two different shops. One shop said it was my drive shaft, and then another shop said my bell housing was going bad. Here's my fear. So I had joked that it was rod knock, but it didn't sound like it because the sound we were hearing came from the bell housing area. But now I'm starting to wonder, was it rod knock and then just like the sounds were vibrating through the bell housing area? Honestly, I don't know, but I was driving home the other night. I did a small pull onto the highway and then I got an oil pressure warning light. So I pulled over, parked the car, checked the oil level was fine. And I know a lot of people are probably like, you're an idiot, why did you drive it home? But I ended up shutting the car off. I started to back up. I limped it home because I figured it's already damage done. It is what it is. Okay. So here's what I think happened. I think when I did a pull, not that night, but a previous night, and that noise started, I'm wondering if I bent a rod, because I know these rods are pretty weak on the GTRs, and this thing's just full bolt-on, stock turbo, but I'm wondering if I bent a rod. That sound we were hearing was a bent rod, and then now I lost a bearing, which led to no oil pressure. So that is my fear. That's what we're gonna figure out in today's video. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm in a weird spot with this car where I'm so deep financially into it. I mean, I'm like 40 something into it. I'll do a cost breakdown of exactly what I've spent. If this thing needs a motor, I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do because they're so expensive. Okay, we'll see. Let's jack this thing up, drain the oil. I'm gonna take the filter off and then I'm gonna cut the filter open. I need to go to the parts store and get one of the things to be able to cut the filter. Ooh, I'm stressed. This has been stressing me out really bad. I'm still trying to sell my STI. That is what's gonna pay for the GTR to get fixed if the GTR is blown up. So race car stuff, right? So, and I got a new camera, so hopefully you guys like this angle. It's like a super wide angle lens, and I don't know, I figured it'd be a better viewing experience for you guys and you get to see more. Let's drain the oil. I hate that I put so much time, so much energy into this car, and then we'll see. Keep you guys posted. All right, boys, so I got her jacked up. I don't know if you can see, but I'm gonna take the oil filter off first. We're gonna cut that open and we're gonna see how she looks. So I already got it started. Try not make a mess. All right, oil filter is off. I'm gonna go grab something to be able to cut this open, and we're gonna see how the inside of this thing looks, because I think that'll tell us everything we need to know. So my hope with this is GTRs are notorious for having the oil pressure sensor go bad, so I'm hoping that's what my issue is. I guess the only way to find out is to cut this guy open and see how she looks, because if there's a bunch of bearing material in here, this motor is unfortunately toast. All right, boys, so this is just the tiny bit that came out of the oil filter. Now this was completely clean. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't really know what I'm looking at. That right there, that looks a little metallic-y, a little scary. I'm just gonna drain the oil and we're gonna pray for the best. That scares me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. All right, guys, so it turns out you can't just go to an auto parts store and buy an oil filter cutter. So I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna go ahead and drain the oil. The little bit of oil that came out of the filter was semi-metallic-y. I think I already know what the answer is gonna be, so I might as well just drain the oil, see what it looks like, see if I get any chunks of metal or more flakiness. Damn, I think this motor might be toast. So much time, so much money to try and make this thing perfect. Let's just drain this oil, see how it looks. Dang, I'm trying to stay positive, but whew, that sucks. That sucks really bad. Well, I don't know. Oh yeah, I think she's toast. Dang it. Oh, that sucks. Right? That's metallic-y. Just looks like a nasty filter.
Yeah, there's a little bit, but that's copper looking. Yeah, there's a couple, you see that?
Oh, like that little chunk?
Yeah, which is nothing. Let's open these flaps. So, what is that?
That's bad. That's bearing material for sure.
Are bearings that color?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not supposed to be in there. Yeah, that's all bearing material, because look, it's inside every fin. Yeah, look at your glove.
Oh.
Yeah, she's done. She's donezo. It's okay. I knew it was done. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's done. GTR motor is toast. Alright guys, so I don't know if you'll be able to see, but like if you open all these fins, there's like little chunks of bearing material in every single fin. So Yep, this bottom end is done. I bet we bent a rod, bro. That's still my guess. I think she was knocking and rod was bent. But yeah, I don't know. And then look at our gloves. You can just see like all the metallic on our gloves. Oh, that sucks, dude. Dang it. All right, boys, so it has been a few days since the last clip, and I've taken some time. I've thought everything over, but you guys saw the bottom end of the GTR is toast. The filter is full of bearing material. The bottom of the oil pan had a lot of sparkly stuff. It makes sense. I lost oil pressure, and yeah, I think the bottom end is just toast. I don't think it's my fault. I genuinely believe the previous owner probably didn't take the best care of this thing. This thing's probably been used and abused and wasn't kept up on maintenance and oil changes, and yeah, so I literally had this car back on the ground about a week after I did downpipes, and now she's blown up. So I'm a little sad. Well, not a little sad, a lot sad, because I like to be fully transparent with you guys and be as honest as I possibly can, and I have spent so much money on this car. If you guys want to know, I know a lot of people have questioned and asked how much I got this car for. This is, to this day, probably the cheapest clean title GTR that's ever sold. So I got it for $24. I immediately dropped it off at the shop, and I spent $7,300 between labor and the timing job. I got the bell housing for $1,500, so that was about 10 grand right there. So let's say I was like 33 into it, 34. The wheels alone were $3K. The brake setup was $1,200. I had to reseal the oil pan, which that cost me another $500. The alternator went out, that was another $500. I bought a new hood for the car. I got that for $600. The trunk was $700, and then another part of the brakes, I think I spent $200 on the rear hats so that I could use these brakes. I'm pretty deep into this car, so I think I'm about 40 grand deep. Oh, the front lip was another $600. I'm trying to think, what else am I into it? I'm sure there's other things that I'm missing, but yeah, I'm about 40 grand into the car, and to a lot of people, I'm sure it's like, oh, that's nothing, like just get it fixed. But to be fully transparent with you guys, I run a business. It is an Amazon business. It's very capital intensive, and I need money for that, and I need to put my business first. Car stuff always has come second, and I am really, really deep into this car. I have a lot of money tied up in the STI as well, and I don't want to say I'm tapped out because I could get this thing fixed, but is it worth it? That's the question. So I have a few different options now. So I've hit up some buddies. I've asked what the cheapest possible route is, and some people are saying, oh, the crank might need some love and you could just slap new bearings in it and she should be good to go. So I think that option would cost me about 5 grand. Now, if I want to replace the entire short block or the bottom end of the car, that I did find a short block for $8,500. And then I'd have to pay for the labor, or I'd have to drop the motor myself, which I'm not opposed to. But I also moved, as you guys know, and I don't have as much room, unfortunately, to work on this thing. So I could try and pull the motor myself, disassemble it, replace the short block. It'd be a super fun project, but once again, very expensive. If I mess anything up, it's just, these cars are so pricey. That is one option. So option number 2 on the GTR, I could sell this thing as is. I'd probably lose about 4 to 5 grand, but somebody else would be getting a killer deal on something that I tried so hard to make beautiful and perfect, and let somebody else fix the motor, which just breaks my heart. Like, this has been my dream car for such a long time. Like, it's been so many years of working and saving and trying to make smart financial decisions. I'll never find another clean title GTR for this price. So it's like, to let it go, it just doesn't sit right with me. And it's like, I've worked so hard, and I know it sounds stupid, but every decision and business move I've made, I've never been handed a dime of money. I've always made really smart investments. I try to not have an ego with these things, or like be known as, oh, Adam's the GTR guy, but like, truly, this has always been my dream car. This has always been it. Like, there's nothing above this that I want. There's nothing that could ever replace this for me. This has always been the car that I want and that I dream of. Option 1, replace the short block or do new bearings and hope that oil pressure comes back and that nothing else was hurt. But I know I'd already have to replace the oil cooler because that is contaminated with a bunch of bearing material. And so those are my 2 options so far. Option number 3 is I sell my STI. So I sell my winter beater, and I wanted to do a build on that, but that's expensive as well, and I'm not going to be able to do both. So I could sell the Subaru, and I could put that money towards this in the rebuild of the GTR, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards, but then it kind of leaves me without a daily. I mean, I still have my little Tacoma out there, but that's not gonna do in the winter. So I don't know. So that is option 3. Or what I've also been leaning towards, but this feels like failure and giving up, and that's not something that I do, is I sell everything. So I sell my GTR as is, I sell my STI, and I move on, and I wait for another project to pop up. I free up a little bit of money, I focus on my business for a bit, and then I get back into the car world. But like, I know the second this thing gets pulled away on a trailer, like I'm gonna cry. Like, it's just, some of you probably get it, but this is more than a car. It like represents kind of my whole entire life, and I've had one of the roughest years of my life, and this just kind of adds to it. And I don't want a pity party. This isn't like, oh, poor Adam, you know. It's just my health hasn't been great. A lot of other variables have not been the best, and this has kind of brought me up out of this darkness, and then now it blows up. So I just, letting go of her just doesn't sit right with me. So I don't know. I wanted to reach out to you guys, the few people that watch this channel, and just ask, what would you guys do in this situation? And what do you guys want to see? Because ultimately, like, I want to keep making content. I want to keep making videos, but with the GTR, once it's back on the road, I don't know what else I can do to it. I mean, these things, as you guys know, are so expensive. I can't afford to do a 1,000 horsepower build. I'd love to make this thing just stupid fast, but to be honest with you, I can't afford it right now. And maybe at some point in my life, I'll be able to. So it's like, do I let it go right now and then hope in the future that I can afford like a 2017 Plus or a little bit newer and nicer one? Or do I try and hold on to it and just try to make it work? Or here's option 5. Tons of options. These are just all the things that go through my head on a daily basis. I'm trying to fill you guys in and kind of see what you guys would do. But I could sell the GTR, and I could do a beautiful, beautiful restoration build on my Subaru STI. I don't know, you guys know, I like Evos, I like Subis. Those have always kind of been my bread and butter. And the GTR was kind of like that next step for me, and now I'm figuring out very quickly. I struggle to afford this thing. I know it was a very cheap GTR, but everything I've done to this, I've paid for. I don't have a loan on it. I don't have a loan on the STI, so I own both cars outright. Title in hand, so it'll make selling the cars a little bit easier. What do? I've always been good with money, but I feel like I'm in this weird spot where it's like my business needs all my attention because Christmas is coming up, and this is my busiest time for my business. That's why I'm reaching out to you guys. I want your opinion. I want your help. This thing is my baby. And it makes me so sad. The day it blew up, I just got my vanity plates, or like my custom plates, whatever you want to call them. I did own my GTR, and she has just sat on jack stands, and this is where she's been for about a week, and I don't know what to do. I'm so torn. She's so beautiful, and she has so much potential. You never know. You just never know with race cars when something else is gonna break. And like, my whole life has led up to this thing. Like, how do you let something like this go? Okay, and that's another question I have with this car, and if I had more garage space, I would absolutely love to pull this motor and strip it down and see what failed, because usually you don't lose bearings on cars like these. Like, Subarus will spin bearings, but these things usually don't. I mean, I either have a bent rod, maybe the oil pump failed. We thought it was a sensor, but obviously it's not. I honestly have no idea. I'd love to dig into it and see what the failure was. If it's a bent rod, obviously I need rods, piston, the block machined, and the crank would probably need some love too. I think for about 10 grand I could get this thing back on the road. My STI, which you guys can't really see, it's sitting right out there, she's worth about 16. So I could sell my winter car to fix this, and then I keep my GTR, or I sell this once it's fixed. My brain is all over the place. I still haven't made a decision. You guys are family. I like to be transparent. I like to be honest, and I'm never gonna be one of those guys that like flexes my stuff and isn't honest with you about financials. But yeah, my life's expensive, my business is expensive, and these things are expensive. You guys are probably tired of hearing me talk, but that is the update on the GTR. No idea what to do. I mean, if there's any like sugar mamas out there, you know, you want to like sponsor the build, or like, you know, hit me up. No, I'm just playing. Or if there's any shops, you know, you want to sponsor my tiny little YouTube channel, which probably would never happen, and you want to help me fix my GTR and do the labor, that would be pretty cool too. Ooh, these things are not cheap. I thought Evos were expensive. These things are a whole nother ball game. I guess when you buy the cheapest GTR in the country, you kind of expect things to break, right? Well, for me, I was like, timing job, cool, 7 grand for that. Yeah, she'll be fine. Nope, turns out she will not be fine. Oh, well guys, this might be an end of an era, a very short-lived era. I only got to enjoy this car for 3 months, 2 months, and it seriously, this GTR has changed my, I mean, I don't want to say it's changed my life, but it has been one of the coolest cars that I've ever gotten the opportunity to own. The amount of attention I get, the amount of people that'll thumbs up it or videotape it, it just makes people's day, which is so cool. Like, it was so cool that I had the opportunity to own this thing. And I always think, life kind of comes in chapters, you know? It's like, maybe this chapter was like very short-lived for me, but it was meant to be. You know, I got to buy my dream car and experience the like joy and fulfillment of getting it and making it look as perfect as I could and drive as perfect as I could until, you know, the bottom end went loose. But I had no control over that, you know. Cars get abused, they get used, and if they're not properly taken care of, you know, it just happens. I don't know, maybe this is just a 3-month chapter in my life, that it's kind of the end of the year. I try to look at everything in a positive light. This isn't gonna be the end of me with cars, obviously. It's just like, maybe I take a step back for now until I can get like a reliable low mile GTR, because this is my dream car. Like, there's no car I want more than a GTR. Like, this is it. I'm being very vulnerable with you guys. It's not easy to admit when, you know, you're running out of money to fix things and these cars are just super, super expensive. Getting into it, I realized they were expensive, but I thought it would be somewhat reliable. I mean, I've put less than 1,000 miles on this car. It kind of reminds me exactly how my Evo 8 was. Just could never keep that thing on the road, lived on jack stands, and now this thing's kind of becoming the same. I don't know, I don't want to say I have bad luck, because I'm not going to put that out there in the universe, but sometimes things just don't go my way, which is okay. That's life. Everything's a learning lesson, everything you grow from. Obviously, this is not gonna be the end of the channel or me. And I'm kind of thinking, you know, if I let go of the GTR, I can make the Subaru perfect. I could do a nice, like, dailyable build on that, like do a Type RA short block, do a bigger turbo, make about 400 wheel. It could be really fun. And it'd be something I'm not afraid to wrench on like this. You know, a block for that is $2,300. A block for this, $8,500 to $10,000 for a used block. That's insane. I honestly am still super torn. I don't know what to do. I've taken 4 or 5 days since we found out the bottom end is toast, and I still have no direction, no answer. I posted it for sale just to see if there was interest, and I've never had an ad get so much love. Like, it has 20,000 views, it has almost 300 saves, it has like 160 shares or something crazy. I know it'll sell, but I don't know that I can let it go. What a weird, weird spot to be in. It's like, it's not a bad spot, you know? I own both cars outright. It's not like I have a car payment on something that's blown up. It's just like, I've dumped so much of my money into the GTR to try and make it perfect, and bought the STI. Now I'm a little tapped out. And I mean, not tapped out, but I have to keep enough money because I'm spending thousands of dollars a month on my business to make sure that I have enough inventory for Christmas time. I gotta be smart, and I've always been financially smart, and I've always gotten myself out of bad situations. So I know I'm gonna do the same in this scenario. I just have to figure out what that looks like. That's my current situation with the freaking GTR, dude. So if you guys stayed this long, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for rocking with me. That's why there hasn't been a video in almost 2 weeks, because yeah, I've been dealing with this. It is what it is. Life goes on. I'm gonna figure it out. You know, my dream, like, I'd love eventually to have a shop where I can pull the motor on these things and fix it, but everything comes with time, right? Like, I'm a car guy. I'm always gonna be a car guy. I just need to make the best financial decision and the best decision for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit more of a depressing video. Hey, it's life, and I'm always gonna be honest with you guys. I'm never gonna BS or not be honest, and this is my life, and I'm just documenting it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys would do if you own this thing and it blew up. We'll figure this out. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.